Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka Lord33. I'm back here with another video on the channel for y'all today, and this is your official My Hero Academia Chapter 318 review. I'm finally back doing these manga reviews, man. I know it's been a while, it's been a grip. My schedule has been crazy, as you guys know. My whole uploading schedule has been flipped on its head, and I'm trying to figure it out. But this was a chapter I had to review no matter what. It didn't matter to me if it was a week late. I had to talk about this chapter, and I'm probably gonna do a live stream sometime in the next couple weeks when I have time, where we're gonna go through all the other chapters that I missed beforehand. I've been keeping up with the story. I just haven't been doing reviews, but right now, the manga is absolutely insane. I'm loving it. We finally get to see the return of Bakugo. Finally, my favorite character. I've been complaining about this for weeks. Because if you guys look at it, the last 15 to 20 chapters have been all Deku-centric. It's the focus has been on Deku entirely, and I understand why. Of course, he's the main character. Him leaving UA was absolutely a huge decision, right? He's getting more and more powerful because clearly they're setting up, this big battle with Deku versus Shigaraki and All For One. But still, guys, think about this. When we get this animated in season 7, all these chapters that where the focus was on Deku, right, and him being away from Bakugo, the rest of Class 1A, that's gonna take up a good amount of season 7 right there. That's a good maybe like 7, 8 episodes alone, possibly more. That's just me trying to estimate, and that still might be low. That's how long Deku's, been away from, Class 1A, all right? My bad. I'm getting all my vocab incorrect, but you guys understand the point I'm trying to make. And last chapter, right, we saw Deku leave All Might, right? He left All Might. He told All Might, stop following me. And I know that had to be a heartbreaking, choice from Deku. And when we saw it from All Might's perspective, even, it was more heartbreaking. And the main reason for that is All Might, even though he's Deku's mentor, right? And he's the one that gave One For All to Deku and, brought him up and taught Deku almost everything he knows. Think about it is, All Might doesn't have a quirk anymore. He doesn't have that power. So he's like a normal civilian that's quirkless. He wants to protect All Might. And he's afraid by All Might continuing to follow him, it's going to lead to his death. But here's the thing. Deku has been overburdening himself, right? He hasn't been taking care of himself mentally or physically. He's just continuing to push forward. Every time there's trouble, he just dashes in. And even though, that's a really great quality that Deku will go out and save anybody and everybody, no matter what circumstance they're in, and he'll always give it his all. He's been pushing himself far past his limits. And that's that. And in the beginning of this chapter right here, Endeavor's talking about how Deku needs to calm down. He's overexerting himself, and it's putting a huge toll on his body. And Deku doesn't want to because he believes that this is what he has to do. And it actually puts Deku in real danger because All For One is picking up on everything that Deku knows. It's like this guy knows Deku inside and out. And the thing about it is, Deku's just going to keep pushing himself, until there's nothing left in the tank. And it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you don't have the energy to move, you're screwed. And, Deku falls into All For One's trap in this chapter. And clearly, them reintroducing Bakugo and the rest of Class 1A, it's perfect timing. Because Class 1A, they are going to be the ones to have to remind Deku, you cannot do it alone. It doesn't matter how strong, it doesn't matter how special, it doesn't matter if you're All Might's chosen one. You cannot do this alone. You're still just a 16-year-old boy at your core. And, I really love this chapter, so I had to get on and talk about it. So this may be a longer review than usual because I have a lot of thoughts, but either way, that's just, a little bit of an opening introduction. But either way, let's get into the chapter itself. So, chapter 318, number 3, Reckless, right? You guys remember, we just talked about chapter 317, right? We saw Deku leave All Might, and then we had that great dialogue from the hero killer Stain, who is out of prison, of course, because all the villains got out. And we saw Stan give a beautiful dialogue, describing how Deku is. Deku is not even recognized as a hero by the way he looks. He hasn't been taking care of himself. His outfit is all, torn to shreds. He's bloody. He looks like a villain. He actually looks like a villain, even though we know he's trying to be a hero at the end of the day, right? So, getting to chapter 318, we have Endeavor, the current number one. He's on the phone with Deku. He says, we're switching up our approach. At this rate, you're not going to last much longer. The official dispatch dates for the foreign heroes will be decided soon. That means there'll be a lot more personnel available to expand our operation. You're the key to all this, so we can't have you running yourself into the ground, right? And then we have Deku respond, I'm still on my feet, and I can't give the village time to prepare. So Endeavor is saying, all right, we got reinforcements, and we know that Hero Society has been a mess. That's the biggest thing from this arc. I don't know what to call this arc. I would call this the Vigilante Deku arc, right? And don't give me all that, like, yeah, he has a provisional license. You guys know exactly what I mean when I call Deku a vigilante. But you can call this the Vigilante Deku arc. You can call this the Deku leaves UA arc. I don't know. Well, I don't know what to call this arc specifically. But basically, we know that a lot of people have been retiring. A lot of people have given up being heroes just because of the depression and, the culture of Hero Society has been flipped on its head. There's so many people just giving up. They just don't want to deal with this stuff anymore. And now, they have these international heroes on the way to help things, hopefully make things easier. Because right now, Deku's doing a lot of the work on his own with Endeavor and Hawks and Best Genius because they don't have a lot of backup. But, with the foreign heroes coming in, it should make things a little bit easier on the heroes. But still, right? Still, Deku's like, I gotta keep moving forward. I cannot stop. He says right here, and I can't give the villains any time to prepare. So basically Deku's saying, I'm gonna keep going until I have nothing left. Right? As tired as I am, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna give the villains any time, any chance, to go with their plans. Even though Deku is falling into the League of Villains plans. All For One wants Deku to run himself into the ground. That's what he fails to realize. Because he knows Deku can't help and lets an innocent person, fall into danger with the League of Villains. If Deku sees somebody that needs help, he's going to help them no matter what. And All For One knows that. And he's taking advantage of it. It's a strength for Deku and a weakness that's exploded, especially in this chapter. So we see Deku, continue to move forward. Look at him, bro. Like, is that the face of a hero? Is that the face of the guy that's supposed to be All Might's successor? No, clearly we all know who Deku is, but clearly, he's not taking care of himself because he's just been focused on, going forward, moving forward. So we see, I love this panel right here. So you see a bunch of the past One For All users, right? They're following Deku, because we know Deku's connected to the One For All realm. And, they're speaking to him in that realm. They're like, listen, Knife, your wounds are far from healed, and it's not yet time to throw caution to the wind. So basically all of the One For All users, the past One For All users, they all have their own unique takes because they see what Deku's doing. They see that he's growing stronger, he's fighting, but they also see that he's very fatigued, he's very tired, and he's, overworking himself. So we see Nana's like, my own feelings place a heavy burden on him. We know the Black Whip user, he's like, nah, the kiddo sees every cause as a worthy one, right? And I believe this is the fourth user. For better or worse, the manifestation of our quirks has enabled him to act on his primary motivation. He now seeks to save everyone as a true superhero. Then we have the second One For All user. He's choosing the right path. The one that looks like Bakugo, of course. And we'll have a little bit more on him later. But, excuse me. He's like, inaction is not an option, especially given the circumstances. That's how it is for those of us who bear One For All. And then the third user's like, you think so, leader? And he's like, that said, if there's anything that could bolster Ezekiel Midoriya now, it would be ... And like I said, we'll have more on this later. So the one for all users, some of them agree what Deku's doing, some of them are a little iffy, right? Because they know what Deku's doing is for a good cause. He's the key to all this. He has to be the one to defeat Shigaraki and All For One. Right? It has to be him. But the thing about it is the way that Deku's approaching it correctly. He keeps going forward, but eventually his body's going to give out on him. He's only 16. There's only so much that he can do. Doesn't matter how, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how much power you have, your body will run out eventually. He doesn't have infinite stamina. That's not one of his quirks. If he had infinite stamina, right, we probably wouldn't have to have this conversation. But we see in a city, it looks like a little marketplace. We see there's a bunch of commotion going on. And we see Deku flying. It looks like he's using Black Whip, right? Let's look at Deku's appearance here, man. Imagine someone who hadn't been reading My Hero Academia for a while. Or imagine somebody that doesn't read the manga, right? That doesn't read the manga. They just watch the anime. And the anime is currently in the Endeavor Agency arc, right? Which is a couple arcs behind this one. And like I said, this won't take place till season 7. Do you think that if you show this to a My Hero Academia fan who only watches the anime, do you think that they would recognize Deku? If you show them this panel right here, do you think that they would recognize that this is Deku, or that they would think that it's somebody completely different? Let me know what you guys think. I would say that the chances that they would recognize that this is Deku are more unlikely than likely. But that's my opinion. All right, so basically, so a citizen looks at Deku, and the citizen's very concerned. He's like, multiple quirks? Are you working for All For One? And Deku's like, what? No. Like I said, the citizen, doesn't recognize Deku as a hero. It doesn't, because of the way his appearance looks. My mom always tells me this all the time. The way you look in society, that tells people the type of person you want to be. You dress like a professional guy, you clean yourself up, you look respectable, people are going to have respect for you. You go out in society looking like a bum, right? Wearing dirty clothes, not shaving, right? Not brushing your teeth, not having your hair brushed. People are going to look at you as less. They're going to be like, this guy doesn't care about himself, so why should I care about him? Deku has not been taking care of himself. As much as he wants to save others, he needs to save himself. And that's one of the big lessons from this chapter. So we see the citizen. They're like, great, glad to hear it. We're fine, really. We're just dandy. And clearly that's not the case, right? So Deku's like, what does All For One want? Where is he? I have to put a stop to Shigaraki and the League. So this is Deku, speaking out loud, talking about what he needs to do. Deku feels like he needs to be the one to stop All For One. He needs to be the one to stop Shigaraki. He needs to be the one to stop the League of Villains. So Deku's like, I can't let them hurt anyone else. I have to complete One For All. And look at this panel right here. Remember a couple chapters ago, right before All For One tried to bomb Deku and Endeavor and the rest of them, he pointed at Deku and he says, now it's your turn. The same way All Might pointed at Deku right before he gave Deku One For All way back at the beginning of this story, right? Deku's taking all this, the heart. It's his turn. He has to be the one to stop this. He's the chosen one. And he believes this because he has to. If he's the one to stop all of this, everybody can live, their lives in peace and safety. That's one of the main reasons why he told All Might, stop following me. And even though I disagree with the way Deku did it, I do understand it a little bit, because he doesn't want All Might to get hurt. He knows that All Might no longer has the power, to go up against the villains. But we get these panels of everybody close to Deku. We get his mom, we get Gran Torino, we get All Might, we get Eri, we get Izawa. And Deku says, so we could all smile together again. And we get this awesome panel of all the members of Class 1A. Look at Todoroki smiling, and Bakugo with his little cocky smile. I really do like this panel right here. So Deku's basically saying, like, he has to be the one to end all of this so that everybody can go on and live peaceful lives. But the thing about it is, his approach is just wrong. His approach to it all, him putting all this burden and stress on himself, and him going far past his limits without any rest, it's just not the right game plan. Eventually, there's a limit to what the body can take, right? I know this. I work 2 jobs at the moment. There's many times when I come up and I am just tired. And as much as I, would want to go out with friends and go do something, I have to get rest. I have to sleep because there's no way I'm going to be able to live my life without sleep. I have to take self-care for myself so that I can do the things that I want to do because there is a limit to what my body can take. Just like Deku, as powerful as he is, he's a 16-year-old boy who's not fully developed yet. And he's going far past his limits. You look at some of the scars that Deku has on his body from, from all the battles he's had, from his battles with Overhaul or Muscular or Shigaraki. You look at all the scars he has on his hands from when he's broken his arms or his legs. He has scars that some heroes don't get in a full career in the story. Some heroes, go on working for 30 to 40 years. Deku has more scars in a year of doing hero work as a high schooler than some of these other heroes. That is absolutely insane. And Deku's mentality is, doesn't matter. I got to keep moving forward. And even though it's something to admire, it's also something that someone has to pull Deku aside and be like, you need to stop. And All Might tried to tell him that, but Deku wasn't hearing it. So, look at this. This is crazy. So, we see an individual, right? This is actually a member of the League of Villains. Someone sent to try to capture Deku from All For One. So, this person says, and this is from the words of All For One himself. He says, a reckless rampage born of anxiety and impatience. You take on the world alone to the point of exhaustion and ruin. Yes, indeed. You're just as he described you, right? So, basically, Deku says this person's name is your dictator, an escapee from Tartarus, right? Another hired gun. So, someone hired by All For One to go after Deku. And basically, like I said, let me read that again. A reckless rampage born of anxiety and impatience. You take on the world alone to the point of exhaustion and ruin. Yes, indeed, you're just as he described you. So basically, All For One knows. Remember, All For One told Deku via the message. He said, I knew Midori, that you would leave UA because you would do anything you could to keep your friends safe. Like, All For One knew what Deku was going to do. And, he knew that Deku would do anything to keep them safe, even if that meant him going off on his own far past his limits, right? And the thing is, as admirable as that is, it's a reckless mindset. Deku is reckless, and, he's not clearly thinking straight. We talk all the time about how, reckless Bakugo can be. But the thing about it is, if we're being honest here, right, especially with what we know with this arc and the way Deku is now, who's the more rational between Deku and Bakugo? I think more people would give it to Bakugo than Deku at this point. Because if Deku was truly being rational and he wanted to give himself the best chance at defeating All For One, he would calm down. He would give himself a break, Yeah. So Deku says, let's hope you're the one who tells me where All For One is. Because remember, with everybody that Deku's defeated so far, he's been trying to get information about the League of Villains, and he's gotten completely nothing. Remember, Lady Nigen is, in critical condition. We don't even know if she's going to make it. I do think she will. But, she's in no position to tell anything about All For One at the moment. So, So Deku's like, Deku wants to know where he can find All For One and Shigaraki. But Dictator doesn't give him anything. He's like, oh, it looks like you want to fight, then a fight you're going to get. And then we see a bunch of citizens, coming after Deku. So clearly, Deku now explains what Dictator's quirk is. Dictator, the one who caught him 5 years ago was Crush. We know that Crush died during the war because of Shigaraki's decay. It was during the bloodless surrender case. His quirk is, I believe that means disposit or despot. His control over others can only be his control over others can only be broken with a strong blow to his victims by knocking him out. Of course, she's taking precautions by having civilians shield him. I can't report the big powerhouse moves because, he doesn't want to, risk killing the citizens. So basically, he's controlling all these citizens, right, that attack Deku. And you can see as they're attacking Deku, the citizens are saying, this isn't our fault. Our bodies aren't listening to us. We're not trying to hurt you. And Deku says, I know that it's okay. I'll free all of you. I just need a strategy. And look at this. Look at this, bro. Here's the thing that, is not stated, but it's pretty obvious. Deku's exhausted. If Deku wanted to, he could get all these people off him in a matter of moments. In a matter of moments, Deku could get all these people off of him. Look, his mask is off, and just look at his face. That's the face of someone that is tired and doesn't even have the will to fight. Sure, yes, Deku could probably, use a move, free himself pretty easily. But think about it, he can't even think straight. He says, I just need a strategy. But all of a sudden, boom. Here comes my GOAT, my guy. We get the armor piecing shot, the AP Shato, right? The AP Shato, the one, the only Bakugo is finally back in action, right? And you can also see here, he still has a bandage on his cheek, right? So he's still not fully healed from the battle with Shigaraki, but he is back in action. So Bakugo says, that punk, and you can see he hits the AP shot right on top of Dictator. I would guess that killed him, but we'll just have to wait and see. But he definitely took a lot of damage. And look at Deku's face here as all the civilians are going after him, right? And here we have the second One For All user. Remember what the second user said at the beginning of the chapter, right about here. He said, if there's anything that could bolster Ezekiel Midoriya now, it would be, and now as we get to the chapter, is that we get that same line. If there's anything that could bolster Ezekiel Midoriya now, it would be, and Bakugo is the last thing you see. So clearly, I think what he meant is either one, having people fighting alongside him that were close to him, like Bakugo, right? Like Ochako, like Todoroki, and the other members of Class 1A, or two, Deku being able to reunite with friends, because Deku's friends have been able to get, have been able to get to Deku in the past. They've been able to have conversations. Like, for example, when Deku broke his hands or his arms, I think it was after, and you guys can correct me in the comment section, I think it was after the battle with Muscular in the trading camp arc. I think after Deku broke his arms in that battle, and he went to the hospital, and Bakugo got kidnapped by the League of Villains, right? All of Class 1A, they were in Deku's hospital room, and, they were all sad, like, Deku, we don't want you to keep hurting yourself, right? You're always, being so reckless. Deku still is living by that reckless mindset even now. And now here we get Bakugo coming back, and, Bakugo and the rest of Class 1A, they're going to have to talk to Deku again and be like, stop being so damn reckless. Stop putting the burden on yourself all the time. We understand, you left Class 1A, you left our class because you wanted to keep us safe. But that's not a decision you get to make, right? No. You don't get to live our lives for us, right? We love and we care about you, Deku. But think about it is, if anything, we're not going to sit back and let you take on all this load. We're going to fight alongside you, and we're going to work together to take down the League of Villains and build a society and build a future where all of us can live in. Just like Deku was saying at the beginning of the chapter, right? So I love the end here. Bakugo says, he's here, guys, because you can clearly see he's on the phone. We don't know who he's talking to, but, the most obvious would be other members of Class 1A, or he could be talking to, other heroes like Endeavor or All Might. I would not be surprised if All Might called, Izawa, or called Bakugo, or called, other members of Class 1A and said, I need your help fighting Deku, after Deku left him, left last chapter. So it's gonna be interesting. Definitely, it's gonna be very interesting to see how, how, and I cannot wait to see Bakugo explain how they were able to find him. But Bakugo is back. I absolutely love it. I love the look on his face too. He doesn't have that usual evil. Not, I'm not gonna say evil. No, why would I say that? He doesn't have that usual like cocky, crazed look on his face. This is Bakugo. He's in a completely neutral state. Something you don't get often, right? So I love seeing Bakugo here in this neutral state here, and he's really focusing on saving Midoriya, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. Cannot wait to see where this goes. But I'm so happy to see that Bakugo is back. Cannot wait to see hopefully the rest of Class 1A next chapter. It's gonna be a couple weeks because I know My Hero Academia is on break next week, so we won't get another chapter till July 11th. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit. But either way, man, I'm excited, very very excited to see what they got in store with us. Cannot wait to see Bakugo and Deku reunite officially next chapter, and hopefully get to see the rest of the members of Class 1A. So next chapter, that is going to be a very, very, very anticipated chapter. Ooh, especially Ochako. Remember, we saw Ochako. She was very emotional when she learned that Midoriya had left 1A. Remember, Ochako called him an idiot. So like I said, lots to look forward to. I cannot wait to see it. But I love where this story is going, and I hope Deku comes to that realization. Like, stop being so damn reckless. Stop, But either way, this was a great chapter. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Give me your thoughts. Give me as your prediction of what you guys think is going to happen next chapter. I'll be right back here next week. Once we get the spoilers and everything, I'll be covering it. But I'm loving where the story's going, man. Hopefully, we're going to get to see Bakugo and Deku team up to go after All For One and Shigaraki, And like I said, remember, we still have Todoroki. He still needs to go after his brother Toya with Endeavor and the rest of the family. So a lot to look forward here. But either way, great chapter. Lots of excitement. Cannot wait to see where the rest of the story goes. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on that video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the big red button. And hit the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'm getting out of here. You guys stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.